What's up, everyone? And you are watching Ryan's channel. All right, so today in Crypto Grinders, I think I want to be sharing with you guys why I'm so excited about exchanges, or at least crypto exchanges, blockchain exchanges, whatever you want to call it. I just want to I just want to focus on this aspect first, because I think, yes, we're all here for the tech, we're all here to trade and start to make money, but I think exchanges are going to play a very pivotal role on how this space will evolve 5-10 years from now. So, but before I get into my whole thought process, I think it's very good to at least share how the exchange tokens have been performing, or at least the tokens that I've been looking at. How have they been performing of late? And and I think from a price point, they're all looking very attractive. They're all actually looking decently. They are all actually recovering very quickly compared to a lot of other projects out there, right? And of course, as an exchange, it's a full business. You can't really say that they are going to be performing the same. And I think what we want to do is focus on why are they recovering the fastest, why are they able to sustain their prices, and last but not least, is the market cap of Bitcoin able to support this whole run up, right? And what are the offerings that these exchanges are putting out there right now? So if we look at the charts, right? If we look at the overall charts, we can see that market cap wise, it is around 143 billion, which is decently healthy at the moment. I was anticipating that right now we just crossed $4,100, okay, or at least it crossed $4,000. And in terms of dominance, you're looking at a 50.2%, okay, which is good, right? You want to see, for the fact that people have been tired of waiting, they want to move towards other altcoins. So this is what's been happening. Volume wise, it's been okay. 36 billion in terms of overall volume that has been traded back and forth. Right now, you're looking at Bitcoin, kind of struggling to cross $4,100, but as long as it sustains above 4,000, you're going to see a very healthy altcoin space. That's for sure, right? Ethereum of late also starting to recover a little bit at $142. You have Ripple, EOS, and of course EOS recently also made quite a bit of a run, around 50 cents increase, so that's not too bad. Litecoin, well, it's been pretty stable as well. $55 is kind of the range to about $60. So as you can see, right, the top 10 coins are always the ones to move the least. You're not going to get a high ROI, especially when the market cap is larger. So I'll come to a little bit about that in the episode as well. So those of you who have been trading the smaller cap cryptocurrencies, you would actually see, or you would actually observe, that the movements are actually significantly more, but take note that fundamentals at the end of the day do play a very big part in this space. You cannot just you cannot just have the technicals and the volume and the charts just going upwards one direction and you don't expect it to correct. The idea behind the fundamental analysis is price stability and also long-term growth. That's what we are also looking for here in Crypto Grinders. You want to be able to sustain long-term growth. You don't want to have that initial few days pump up to 30 to 40%, and then after that it drastically goes back down to where it came from. So that's not what you want, right? So that's why there is an incorporation and important aspect of fundamental analysis, which is deep diving into what's behind the company, who is the team involved, what are they actually creating, what kind of solutions are they providing the space, and what kind of partnerships that are making which the partnerships are the ones that help to validate how strong these projects are. So it is very important for you to understand all these things. Okay, so right now, if you're looking at the top 10 cryptocurrencies, right? Binance, on the other hand, is actually doing pretty well, which is an exchange coin, right? If you look at the charts now, give it a second to load. If you look at the charts for Binance, especially if you look at the one-day charts, they crossed the one of the initial all-time highs, which was back in June of 2018, which is very, very encouraging. It is one of the very first cryptocurrencies that has reached that point. It is the first, okay, for now. Obviously, if you look at the all-time high, it was at $22, but that's around 30% away, okay? It's 30% away, 31% if you look at from a US dollar tether perspective, and that's not very far, right? And imagine Bitcoin is still so far away from the 20,000. If you look across whatever chart back in 2017, okay, when Bitcoin hit 20,000, this is kind of like where you're at, or where you anticipate your cryptocurrency should be. And Binance is actually one of the very first few cryptocurrencies that will probably reach there first. But can it sustain? Now let's go back to its market cap. As I mentioned, it's at 2.334 billion as of now, right? When you talk about the market cap, let's also try to understand that it depends on the price and the overall stability of the business. All right, and in terms of the current price, it's not entirely unachievable or unrealistic. I just feel that Binance is way too overheated in this current space. Why do I say that? Firstly, look at the market cap, right? If the overall market cap is 143 billion, okay, and Binance has a market cap of 2.334, we have to ask ourselves, how many of us are actually trading, right, on a regular basis, or how many of us are actually really putting in a lot of money into the space? Because exchanges function in a few ways. One, they provide coins for trade for retail customers. The other is they allow institutional accounts, OTC, over-the-counter trading. You have listings, right? So there are many ways that an exchange can make money. It can also do lending, and of course they could also offer derivative trading, right, which is futures contracts, and potentially even options, or whatever kind of financial derivative product that you can see on the market. But this doesn't constitute to the overall market cap, okay? It doesn't really constitute to that. Sometimes there are underlying factors that are not accounted for, okay? One is hype, because right now there's so much hype around how Binance is performing, okay, due to the fact that it has Launchpad, and Launchpad has a few requirements. Firstly, you have to be a Binance user, right? A verified Binance user. From then you have to hold Binance coins, and then once you hold the coins, you have to hold them for, I think, a certain time frame, say 20 days or so, and then you're able to have this lottery, right, where you are going to be picked for the number of coins that when you hold a certain number of coins for an X number of days. From there you are awarded a lottery ticket. From then that lottery ticket will go through your lottery process, and if your ticket number is picked, you will then obviously be able to participate and join that particular listing. From there, whatever happens, right, in terms of the performance, nobody knows. So there has been some kind of fun in terms of the way Binance has created it. I think that it kind of adds an element of excitement, like, wow, you feel good that you won something. But I think there's still going to be people who are going to be pretty frustrated, and it will also cause the tokens to dump at the end of the day, because if I didn't get it, right, I wouldn't be locking in my liquidity. That's just how the space works, okay? It's very different from the existing financial systems, because there's no such thing as a lottery or whatever. In a way, I guess IPOs or public listings are a little bit of a lottery. If you wanted to participate in an IPO, you would go to the local ATM, right? And then you say you wanted to put in $1,000 to this particular IPO listing. And if you get it, you get it, right? That's when your funds get deducted. From there, if you wanted to trade it, you would have to have a brokerage account and trade that particular IPO stock, right? And same thing here. You may get a lot. You may get a lot in terms of the amount that you can participate in, but you may get nothing at all. So the moment you get nothing, the question is, do you believe in the business enough that you would hold the particular exchange token? Okay, so these are the considerations that you have to ask yourself, because most folks, right, don't have enough liquidity to hold certain things. Sometimes they need the liquidity for maybe payment of something, and Binance tokens are currently at $16, right? Which is actually not the main point here, because ultimately most of the exchanges just require you to hold a certain amount. So for example, if you look at Huobi is $2.46. So if both sides require you to hold maybe $1,000 worth of Huobi or $1,000 worth of Binance, then it doesn't matter anymore what the number is. The only question is, fundamentally, where do you see the business growing, and can revenue and growth keep up with the price? That's all you have to ask yourself, right? And and by the way, if you're someone who has been invested in exchange tokens for some time, okay, you would actually realize that it's actually growing. It's actually growing in terms of the increase. The price increase is consistent. You don't have to worry that suddenly it will just drop back down to $1 or something like that. It just doesn't make sense, because right now the whole catalyst has been started by the exchanges, and we have to recognize that. So the next thing is, okay, do you want to participate in the listings offered? Well, from a speculative point of view, it does make a lot of sense. So what's been happening is this, okay? So when there is a listing, on Binance, OKX, on Huobi, okay, it doesn't matter. So once you are able to participate with the amount that you have once you have already participated in that particular listing, right? And if, let's say, the tokens start to pump really aggressively, so top actually I think did 2x on US dollar tether, or maybe even close, only 2x, okay, only 2x, which is very decent for 5 days, right? That's 100% profit in 5 days. But the frustrating part is the amount, right? If you only won one lot, that's $1,000, right? $1,000 making $2,000, I would say is very, very decent, okay? Especially if it's 5 days work. If you ask whether can you participate more, maybe if you wanted to do in tranches of 5 or 10,000, would the volume support it, and would you potentially get stuck? Well, yes and no, because to me, when you look at the existing listings, right, it is another ICO, but it's not a direct ICO, because these exchanges are not actually helping these companies raise money. They're actually facilitating a token sale. So whatever spare tokens that are that were not taken up during the private rounds, okay, are being offered on the exchanges at the moment. So a lot of people have this misconception that this is the new ICO. It's not. It's not an ICO. It is just basically a token facilitation or token sale event. Okay, so let's make a few assumptions here. Say for example, if top, okay, they raised their minimum, okay, or they raised a certain amount during the private sale. Right now they have tokens that have already been minted, and they want to put it out there to the public, right? And right now maybe their project was overlooked because of the bear market, okay? Since they were overlooked during the bear market, the price of the token actually kind of suffered, right? Or at least the receptiveness towards the project wasn't as fantastic. Right now, when the market is starting to pick up, people are willing to start putting money back into the space. Therefore, people were excited to participate in top, seller, BTT, or whatever. It really doesn't matter. So what happens is that these projects are now able to sell off those tokens, right? And the exchanges will help by providing them that benefit to certain members. Because when I say certain members, because you may or may not get it, actually every single member on every exchange will have the opportunity to participate in these token sales. So either on Launchpad or Prime. So what happens then? Okay, so once you participate and once you get into these tokens, then you would realize that, oh, okay, if you look at Top, right? Top did pretty well on most charts, right? As you can see, on US dollar Tether alone, okay, it started out at 0.009 cents, right? It even went down to a low of 0.0083, and it pumped. Okay, it pumped really aggressively. So yeah, so almost double, right? Almost double in terms of price. That is really sick in terms of such a short time frame. So you realize that there is opportunity to make money. The only question is, how sustainable is it? To me, I don't feel that it's very sustainable, because at the end of the day, we all know that there is always a certain element of community, market making. Everything comes together. Okay, everybody loves the small little values where it's less than $1, less than 10 cents. It's still along those lines, and a large part of that is that this space is still dominated by the Asian markets. Okay, and the Asian markets love the small denominations and these kind of units of measure. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Now, let me share a little bit about OKB. So OKB is also doing pretty well in terms of price recovery. I see a lot of opportunity as long as OKX kind of does what it does, as long as it remains a strong, reputable exchange, right? Everyone has a chance to actually recover back to the all-time high. It's not just going to be Binance. So that's why I'm looking for value right now. Okay, I'm looking for value, and obviously, yeah, just because is it just because it's $1, Ryan, or just because it's below $3? No. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the business model first. I always look at the business model. I try to find as much information on the user base, how much revenue, and how transparent are they about the information. If they are not transparent about the information, I usually avoid it, even though from a price standpoint, I don't mind taking a punt. But I want to look at how transparent are the exchanges in terms of their declaration of revenue. Okay, I think, and where are the revenue streams coming from? If the revenue streams are coming from from their various departments and businesses, and it's available to the public, it cannot be me having a coffee with someone in Asia Pac. It doesn't make sense, because when you talk about investments, right? Yes, there are certain pieces of information that are only available to private investors and VCs, or those who are getting involved from an institutional standpoint. I get that, I understand that, but if this space is offering a token that is available to the public, right? And there has to be some justification on all this. Sometimes I think the reason is very simple. Whenever there's an airdrop, there's a distribution, and as long as you give people money, I guess that's more or less it. But to me, I find that if companies actually make an effort to put out these kind of financial statements or income documents, okay, it builds a lot of credibility. It really does. And it just goes to show that, hey, you are a serious business, that you are starting to rake in actual money, right? You're just making money. Your people are actually interested in buying your stuff. And that's the most important thing to me, right? Because I can get my trade wrong 100 well, I can't get my trades wrong 100 times, right? That means I'm losing money 100. Okay, let's say I make my trades wrong 70% of the time. But all I need to do is get my investment, my analysis correct. I can get it wrong on a daily basis, but in the months to come or the years to come, when my token price starts to appreciate, that's all I care about. Okay, so that's something where I think that's something where a lot of folks don't realize, right? They think that you know, when you invest in something, right, it's slow moving. It doesn't it is not as exciting as trading. If I was to move from one cryptocurrency to another cryptocurrency, that would give me more opportunities. Actually, that is okay, I guess. You definitely can make money through trading, guys. You definitely can make a very good solid income if you're dedicated enough, and if you're willing to look through the charts and the huge number of cryptocurrencies out there, because each day a different cryptocurrency is pumping. Okay, but where is the sustainability? Okay, which ones are you willing to just stay invested in? If you're telling me that you're not willing to stay invested in any of them, that's fine as well. But the real 100x, 1000x, 10,000x, right, is staying invested. Okay, there is no way that as a trader, okay, as a trader only, you're going to say, okay, in before all this hype happened, right, you would be happy with 5 to 10%. Okay, let's just be very honest. 5 to 10% on trades were fantastic in a bear market. Right now, you're noticing that the pumps are anywhere from 30, 50, even 100%. So people are starting to get cocky and starting to forget about themselves. Okay, and what happens is that if there's going to be a huge shit on BTC, everything goes. Because right now BTC is still looking pretty bearish in that sense, although it does seem to have bottomed out, right? Personally, I bought BTC at $3,200. I'm pretty happy that that happened, that, you know, $3,200 was kind of the low of the low. But we don't know whether or not there could be further downside. We don't know that, and there's no guarantees. So obviously, you as a trader, you're gonna take profits very occasionally to kind of do proper risk management. But for an investor, we don't really want to just focus on the near-term trades. Okay, when I say near-term, we don't want to look at the short-term in-betweens. We're looking for the overall growth. And if the growth is going to sustain itself, right, that means 100x, 1000x is going to be very, very easy. And because we're not taking profit regularly, and yes, we do look stupid when the market starts to tank on us and, oh, your liquidity is stuck. But when it does start to move, right, traders tend to take profit along the way, which is fine. But investors, right, will just stay and allow the whole thing to just mature. And that's when you get your 100x, 200x. It's really just like that. Now you must be saying, hey, doesn't that allow you the opportunity to be lazy? No, it doesn't. Because from a fundamental standpoint, I had to do all the work, the research, and the time, right? Which is no different from you as a trader looking through all the charts, using the various tools that you require before you made a decision to enter and exit. Same thing as an investor, we have to enter and exit. And the whole idea of why I prefer being an investor, I get the opportunity to invest more of my money, right? Because I'm able to invest more of my money, I can put more of that into work and more into the market, and I don't have to always have it determined by some lottery system or some listing system, right? If I want to get in, I can always just say, hey, I want to get in at this amount. Is there an opportunity? Let's just talk about private equity. There's usually very little reasons why a company will accept lesser from you. Okay, they always want to raise more money. That's on a private equity side. But private equity usually is illiquid. So now I'm coming to my point on why exchanges are that powerful. Exchanges, at the end of the day, provide the opportunity for assets to become liquid. That's what I get very, very excited about. Crypto exchanges, right? Although from an exchange standpoint, you're trading tokens, but behind the scenes, if companies are going to incorporate illiquid assets, let's talk about property. Okay, property is one of the most illiquid assets. As much as property is an important aspect for a lot of folks in various countries, especially in Asia, property is huge. Property is big. Okay. And you want to be able to trade it. You want to be able to offer it to people. Okay, hear me out. Right now, let's just say millennials these days, they don't own property. Okay, because they cannot afford it. They're all renting. That's fine. Okay, you if you don't have the amount of savings, or you don't have the income to even sustain a property, you shouldn't own you shouldn't own a property, because you'll be paying through your nose. Okay, but what if these assets, especially a property, was being offered on an exchange? Now, hear me out. You cannot directly list a property on an exchange at the moment, but there can be a synthetic representation, therefore a token. There's always asset-backed tokens, right? So as Darius Craig has mentioned, well, maybe it's a gold-backed coin. Think about it this way. If an asset class that was always very illiquid can suddenly start being traded, it opens up a whole new avenue for people who were never interested in the asset class to suddenly get interested. Okay? If you were to buy a property right now, it's either you buy the whole thing or you don't buy it at all, right? But right now, what if units of property, right, were able to be broken up, and the tokens were the representation of that? And that's when it gets very exciting. Right now, you're having people who have portfolios, or maybe they want to sell a portion of it, but they don't want to really rent it out to anybody. What they're doing is that they're monetizing their assets. Okay, so this actually goes into a lot of things, and this becomes the exciting part already. Why stablecoins are recently very, very popular? Because when US dollar Tether started, or at least the company Tether started to make huge amounts of money, right, from so-called their US dollar Tether, where they claim that it's one-to-one, but clearly we all know that it's not one-to-one. What happens is that that differential is the profit margin. That's when where all the other exchanges, look at Gemini, look at Huobi, look at Binance, eventually those who have the money will naturally say, hey man, I could actually do the same thing. Why should I be taking the US dollar Tether from someone else? I can create my own stable coin, right? But then again, you also have to consider how many exchanges are using US dollar Tether and how widely received is US dollar Tether. Right now, US dollar Tether is still the #1 stable coin where it's widely used. So therefore, Tether, the company, is making a lot of money, although it may not have one-to-one, but say maybe they have 1-to-10. Okay, so that means, let's say for every $1 that they are putting out there into the market, which is heavily traded, they are only using 10 cents of their own money, and that is a huge ROI, guys. And as long as people are willing to use, and when there is stability, that's all you need, right? So that's where you notice where Tron is coming out, is US, what the heck is it called? USDTT, right? Because Tron has just raised so much money, they decided, you know what, let's just do our own stable coin. And they're even offering, I think, 20% on top. So if you were to convert your US dollar Tether to, USDTT, right? You would, I guess, get a 20% more tokens on the USDTT. So you see, there's a lot of ways that all this is happening. So right now, the exchanges are going to play a very, very important role. You cannot imagine how exciting this is going to be. And you must, and especially if you're from the traditional stock trading world, right? You'll be thinking, hey Ryan, isn't that like REITs? Isn't that like buying a company that does developments? Yes, it's kind of the same, but right now you're actually able to participate in the asset. You're not even buying the company anymore. You're actually buying the actual asset. And that's the fun part, right? Because suddenly, if you know that this particular property is doing very well, and there's a token or at least a representation of it on an exchange, you can get a piece of the action. If it's making some rental income or revenue, the company, right, doesn't have to give away its equity. It doesn't, and most business owners don't like to give away the equity, because equity is precious, right? So what you can do is, okay, since you are helping out in terms of, if you are helping out as a member who's buying the tokens, right? How do I reward you? There has to be some incentive, right? So I will give you back a portion of the revenue, and that's what the exchanges are doing. They are not giving you any piece of the actual company, but they are willing to share the revenue. And every time 20% is being burned or whatever, it could be the same thing, guys. The asset can just be placed on an exchange to make it very, very liquid. And that's the whole idea. That's why when I saw these exchanges and these tokens, I asked myself, how could they actually play a significant role other than just another exchange and offering all these products? So that is the part that, although it's not defined yet, and yes, there are folks that are actually backing their tokens up with a certain asset and all that, but it's so hard to validate. That's the part that still gets to me. How do you validate that this company that is claiming that it's using their property portfolio or their gold portfolio or their their ships or whatever, let's say they want to back an asset, right? They want to use an asset to back it up. How do you validate that they have what they say they have? Because it's very difficult to determine that. Because when they say that they determine that, you have to have heard of the company before. Okay, so let's say Coca-Cola wanted to start. Okay, I'm giving an example. Let's say Coca-Cola wanted to start monetizing its brand through crypto. Because Coca-Cola as a brand, there's no tangible asset. The brand itself is the asset, right? The brand itself is worth billions of dollars. So right now, if let's say you were able to get in on the action with Coca-Cola, right? And you were able to purchase a fraction of that as opposed to you buying the stocks. Okay, you wanted to just use the crypto and you want to enjoy certain benefits from Coca-Cola's brand. Okay, this is where the space gets very, very exciting. And if that were to happen and more people started to understand that, right now the only pain point is that big brands don't really want to associate themselves with the crypto part or the token part. They feel that it's too speculative. And they feel that it will actually tarnish their brand. But I feel that if done right with the right exchanges, it actually can open up a floodgate of new money. Because I did a poll recently, right? And I asked, what would constitute to real mass adoption? And the biggest answer was actually brands and large corporations adopting crypto. That was the poll. That was what you guys actually answered, and you guys actually understood that the moment that a big brand associates themselves with the space or is willing to even issue their own tokens, right? That's where people will be like, and we're talking about, when I say people, means people who are outside looking in. They're not like us, like hardcore looking at crypto all the time. These are the people that are going to start to take note. And that's when you're going to see the whole wave start to come in. Okay, so yeah, these are the things that are very, very important. What do you think of USDC? Okay, I'm gonna answer a few questions right now. Okay, so okay, Jean, nice to meet you. From Portugal. Wow, nice. I'm not entirely sure what's the time, but it's morning here, really early. Thank you for watching, by the way. Okay, so Celsius Network, they are one diamond, I think. Okay, right. There are going to be a lot of exciting things happening at the moment, okay, with regards to projects coming out. There's going to be a whole flood of new projects, okay? Like I said, any project that was ignored during the bear market but had strong fundamentals will start showing itself now, okay? That means they were able to raise usually the soft cap. So the soft cap can range anywhere from 2 to 5 million, and obviously they were trying to raise much more during the time, but they couldn't. So right now they're gonna start appearing again. So if you didn't have the opportunity to participate, right now the only way to participate is through these token sales. What do you think of USDC? I like I said, it's just a stable coin. I don't have any particular thoughts, right? Because that doesn't really excite me. You see, a stable coin is, after all, $1 to $1, right? No matter what it does, it's always going to be $1. Sure, it may have certain speculative aspects. For example, if there is fear that this is going to go down. I think we all remember at one point where US dollar Tether was actually trading at a discount compared to another stable coin. Okay, so whether that was an actual event or whether or not that was an actual situation where people genuinely were fearful that US dollar Tether was going to go down, and you saw a 10 to 15% increase on other stable coins, that was the time actually to kind of, you know, capitalize. But I feel that it's a bit off, and that was a one-off, like a black swan event, so I didn't really care too much about it. As you can see now, everything is just, you know, stable again. But you know what, whether you choose to use USDC, TUSD, Paxo, it really all boils down to how much credibility that particular issuer, you see, because right now there are so many stablecoin issuers, they know that they can play this game, and we have to be a little bit smarter about it. Like, to me, although like US dollar Tether has a little bit of its bad rep, but it's still widely used, right? And if you want a hedge, perhaps you can kind of use whatever stablecoin offering that is offered on the exchange that you are doing. But when I say that, right, it's not financial advice. For me, I'm using Huobi, or I use Binance, right, for my trades. I don't move around that much. I'm looking at other things, but I'm very, very slow to look at other stuff because, like I said, if I haven't heard of it or I haven't had a very strong connection with the team, I don't make decisions hastily, especially in this space. I've been in the space for 3 years already. This is my 4th year in crypto. I have no rush, right? And I know that the more that you rush these things, you make very erratic decisions. And in this space, right, you can make a lot of money, but you can lose a heck load of money, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So you just have to make sure that you gotta just stay in the game. Okay. So does it feel like the safest? There's no such thing as safe in the crypto space. You're just having to base it on you just have to base it on reputation and how long have they been around. And when a company has been around or a token has been around for some time, and when a token has been around for some time, that's when anyway, my baby is crying, so it's probably gonna be time to end the stream. So anyway, when a token has been around for some time, or a company that has been around for some time and has been showing consistency, growth, strong community, strong support, right, that's more or less the safest, as you can say. But you know, like I said, there are just so many random stuff happening at times. It's very, very hard to say that this is it. So we have to all grow together. We're all learning together, and that's the whole idea about this space. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I really appreciate those who were taking the time to watch this episode. Give this a thumbs up if you feel the same way about exchanges as well. Do you feel that it's going to be the next leg? Do you feel that they're going to offer much more than the current exchanges that are done what traditional exchanges are doing? I personally feel that they're going to be the future. There's going to be a lot of things that exchanges in the crypto space can do that traditional exchanges are not really able to do because of the various facts that infrastructure, licensing, regulations, all these things are of course going to hinder the progress for now, but I feel that there are going to be a lot of exciting things to come. Give this video a thumbs up if you feel that this is going to do well, and last but not least, you know, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so, and catch you in the next stream, guys. See ya.